has landed. I repeat, the eagle has landed.
Today is World AIDS Day. This video is dedicated to all those who succumbed to this disease, and to quote this year's UN declaration, with human rights at the center, with communities in the lead, the world can end AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. Greetings Romy, you're watching Rum, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing and a regular news roundup, our weekly sim racing news. Thanks to all those who come here often, especially those who subscribe, and even more our patrons. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. It's here at last! The Automobilista 2 infamous version 1.6 dropped on Steam and into many computers on Friday, and if it hasn't yet, restart your Steam client. The list of changes, as was expected, is longer than a day without bread, as my grandma used to say. We will of course go through them in this video, but don't miss our other news: the end of Assetto Corsa Competizione, iRacing believing the hype, your favorite truck simulators getting an update, highlights of the Steam Autumn sales, and all that. One big serving of weekly news coming up. Enjoy! The next ones jumping on the Tech Bro hype train are iRacing, who are, in their own words, developing an AI system together with Microsoft. You know, the ones with a spyware they call Copilot, which they try to sell as some kind of AI helper. As somebody who's worked on an AI adjacent field of work called machine learning, I can say with more knowledge than most that what everybody is calling AI out there amounts to not much more than a drunken parrot that lies most of the time. For us nerds, that's of course limited to large language models, which is not what iRacing portend to be doing here. What all these AI systems do is, at the end of the day, what computers have been good at since day one, and that is working through massive amounts of data at near light speed to produce what are called stochastic inferences based on that crunching. It's not intelligent, it's number crunching to find statistically significant signals. We at Rum have been testing so-called AI trainers for about a year now, and the AI is just crap. No significant signals to be learned there, no intelligent output for the driver. It's not even a drunken parrot, it's rather a dead parrot. Cue Monty Python.
This parrot is no more. It has ceased to be. It's expired and gone to see its maker. This is a late parrot.
But hey, if you want to look cutting edge nowadays, just throw AI into the conversation and everybody goes wide-eyed. Me, compared to what I've learned from all these so-called AIs, give me a real-life trainer every day. Anyway, the hype iRacing is trying to sell you is that they want to collect your driving data to improve their AI, have AI-based coaching and crew chiefs and whatever else comes to mind to them. And now I have to take allergy medicine because the amount of marketing bullshit in iRacing's press release is staggering, and as we know, I'm allergic to bullshit. Steam has convinced many companies to drop the price of their software until December 4th for our pleasure. Of course, many studios producing sims have followed that invite. Let's check what's interesting. Assetto Corsa Ultimate, that's Assetto Corsa with all DLCs, costs slightly more than double as much as it's normally cost, now at €17. With Assetto Corsa Evo around the corner, maybe skip this sale if you're not definitely, absolutely 100% honed on AC. While AC with Ilias CSP is fantastic, AC Evo may be the way to go from next year on. Time will tell, and there's other sims on offer you may want to check out first. Like Assetto Corsa Competizione, Assetto Corsa's younger brother, or is that sister, which is concentrated on the GT3 cars of the SRO, and luckily with close to no Asian tracks or cars. Assetto Corsa Competizione by itself is down to €12, and there's an ACC Ultimate Edition with all the DLCs ever, out for €60. We explain in the short news segment of this video why ACC Ultimate has been released now. If you fancy many more cars from all around the world, but again not much Asian content and better force feedback than Assetto Corsa Competizione, Automobilista 2 may be your thing. Just in time for the sale, Reiza released the newest version of the sim, and we have a long and detailed segment about that in this video. First of all, their DLCs are free to play this weekend and until some unspecified time next week, and the sim is reduced to half its normal price, down to €19. Most DLCs and the Season Pass 2020-2022, as well as their packs, haphazard collections of tracks and cars, are also down by half. The DLCs they published just this Friday are of course not reduced, and nobody expected that. Add to all this that Low Fuel Motorsports now offers Automobilista 2 races, something Just Race has done for years by the way, and we expect this sim to soar high. Another one high in the physics department is BeamNG, which as always only sees a tiny reduction to €18. And while Le Mans Ultimate does not move the prices even 1 cent, R-Factor 2, which for all intents and purposes is end of life, sees heavy reductions in price, 75% of the complete packs, 80% of the sim, and different reductions for other packs from 25 to 50% depending on the DLC. Might be a good opportunity to get it and your favorite cars and tracks for cheap, as there's a healthy amount of mods for it, as our weekly ASRC races clearly show. And while we're waiting for Wreckfest 2 to make itself visible, Wreckfest is down to €12. Best sim kit ever, and it's lots and lots of fun. With the release of ACC Ultimate, a complete collection of the sim and all the DLCs, we expect this to be the swan song for the software, which makes sense. The updates have been few and far apart and only changed small things, and Assetto Corsa Evo is around the corner. See the link up there for our first impressions. Speaking about end-of-life software, R-Factor 2 will discontinue Ferrari content and the Circuit de la Sarthe, home of the Le Mans 24, from January 1st, 2025 on, due to the licenses they had for that content expiring. You can still pay for the content and it should remain within the sim for a long time, maybe even forever. You just won't be able to add those to your collection anymore. Having a corporate sugar daddy like Corsair brings mighty bonuses, as was to be expected. Fanatic users and those who want to become one rejoice, as Corsair are doing their first steps towards streamlining support and, from the looks of it, making things better at Fanatic. A new software will now help customer service, which Corsair expect will reduce turnaround time for customer support issues to 1 day. And they are working on a new integrated software for all things Fanatic, including an app for your smartphone, saying the beta will be released soon. Now, is that a Reiza soon or a Fanatic soon? We suppose it's a Corsair soon, as we've only once needed customer support from Corsair and the issue was resolved within 3 days. We hope it is a Corsair soon. Oh, and of course, all existing warranties will be honored. It would be illegal, at least in the EU, not to do so anyway. The update 1.53 of Euro Truck Simulator 2 and American Truck Simulator, which not surprisingly share a core, went live on Tuesday. On the Euro Truck Simulator 2 front, a lot of what has been done reworking German cities is in the update, and the Volvo FH Series 4 has also been reworked. Interiors, exteriors, everything was touched and beautified. American Truck Simulator has seen California reworked, as well as an update of the dynamic cargo loading and unloading. Also, from now you will be able to train the 5th generation Cascadia in the Driving Academy. A new route has been added for those using the Special Transport DLC. You will now be able to drive between Los Angeles and San Diego via the I-5. And something I didn't know was possible, you can slide the rear axles of some trailers to optimize weight distribution. Pertaining both games, now you can set them up so that it recenters the camera automatically and can even set up how long the games wait until they recenter your view. If you like what you see, how about supporting us? A like, a subscribe, or even becoming a patron? Patrons get access to exclusive content and are involved in our decisions. Help us grow with your support. Well, here we are. Get your favorite warm or cold beverage and settle down. This update of Automobilista 2 is surely going to be the longest ever. The changelog is very long, and there's signs and portents to transmit to you Romies. If you thought the 1.5 update was a game changer, you have seen nothing yet. Reiza considers work on physics finalized. Well, mostly they are a Reiza after all, as they say they cannot get more out of this code with modern PCs. Give Reiza a quantum computer! Also, since the 1.6 was officially released, Low Fuel Motorsports is organizing races with Automobilista 2. They are still in beta and things are prone to break, as with any beta of course. If you want stable online racing with Automobilista 2, go to Just Race. And by the way, Automobilista 2 registered the most concurrent users ever this weekend. Good for them. Expect one too many hotfixes being released over the next days. With so many people driving, especially in multiplayer races, bugs are going to be found or are going to be repeatable that were not found or only appeared once in the extensive beta phase. It's the nature of software development. First of all, you can enjoy the 3 new DLCs for free all weekend, and they may stay free a couple of days after that. Those DLCs are the IMSA Track Pack DLC, adding Mosport, Road Atlanta, and most specially Sebring to the sim. Woohoo! The second part of the Endurance Pack DLC, which brings the Alpine A424 to the LMDH GTP class, the Ligier JSP 217 and the Oreca 07 to the LMP2 Gen 1-2 class, and the Audi LMS GT3 Evo 2 and Corvette Z06 GT3R to the GT3 Gen 2 class. There is also a Lamborghini Dream Pack Part 1 DLC with the Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2, the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2, the Veneno Roadster and the Lamborghini SC63. No need for any DLC to enjoy the Audi Quattro, the Audi LMS GT3, the Audi LMD R8 GT4, the Ligier JSP 320 and the Corvette Z06 with Z07 upgrade performance package, as they are part of the base sim from now on. Before we get down to the details of the update, if you for some reason are having trouble with the 1.6 version, you can always roll back to the 1.563 version by selecting Previous Build, one word, in the beta dropdown. We hope you won't need that, but you never know, right? All standard setups have been adjusted for the new physics. Time trial records have been erased, and if you find a career mode in the GUI, there's no functionality behind it yet, but Reiza are working on it. Let's dive into the 1.6 then. The maximum grid size is now 48 cars on track. Note, they will have to share pit boxes. This will only be possible if you have more than 12 GB of RAM though, as so many cars eat up memory space. And this number only applies to single-player races. Reiza's recommendation for multiplayer is, for now, 28 cars at maximum. Anything above that can lead to reliability issues. The live track properties have been reworked and revised, with more rubber being layered on the track than was the case before. As we said in the past, depending on humidity and other race conditions, you may see contrails forming on the wingtips of so-called F classes, F Classics, F High-Techs, FV12s, FV10s, F Reiza and F Ultimate Gen 1. Also, trees and grass will have visible humidity depending on climate conditions, and both changes are so cool. Keeping with graphics, many adjustments have been done to particles with regards to intensity, number, and so on. And if you're using a triple monitor setting and the menu does not offer an option, check out the file triplescreensettings.xml under Documents Automobilista 2 to maybe fine-tune those. Your engine can now fail for different reasons: coolant failure, oil failure, turbo failure, and complete failure. Automobilista 2 will let you know which of them ended your race. The rules for DRS in F Ultimate Gen 2 cars now convene to real-life counterparts and are not limited to fighting for position anymore. There's been some changes to the UI and HUD, some corrections here and there. As always, if you're interested in the deeper details, see the link in a description. Replays now have a 5, 10 and 20 times speeds forwards and backwards. Of course, and in line with the physics changes, we'll come to those, don't worry, the AI got extensive corrections and calibrations, and you can now adjust their skill in the wet specifically and separately from their skill in dry conditions. You can also configure the rate of AI mistakes and expect further fine-tuning of the AI behavior in future updates. The behavior towards blue flags has been adapted once more and made more in line with real-life behavior and rules, but it's dependent on their blue flag personality parameter because AI has those. The AI will also not adhere religiously to the racing line, changing it here and there depending on the skill level of the AI driver. All in all, AI has been made more human-like and more diverse in their behavior. Be prepared for a more difficult grid if you're racing solo. In the audio department, car sounds have been revised extensively, as have their motor sounds. They still don't reach race room levels in my opinion, but you may think differently. And trackside sounds have been added and revised too. You can now decide how many opponents you can hear at the same time, but be aware it will impact performance of the sim. Depending on track, there are now different reverb zones as well as wall reflections. Speaking about tracks, all tracks now have pit control lights, dirt roads have lower grip, more resistance and sinking factor, and there have been extensive fixes and corrections to many tracks. For example, Azure now has lights in the tunnel, you know, for those 24-hour night races you're so fond of. Cleveland got its pit exit remade and Imola better drainage to avoid puddles at Tamburello and Villeneuve. These are just some examples. Mind you, the list is as extensive as it would be exhausting for you to listen to me read out every tiny detail. So we move on to cars. All windshields have been checked to have the same tint and reflection overall, and they get visible scratches. Also, you will now see tire wear and flat spotting, and new tires will have that little shiny coating they do also in real life. Car motors will now backfire more in accordance with real life, rear cameras have been adjusted where needed, and the collision models of some cars have been revised. The Brabham BT62 got its graphics updated enormously, and overall LCDs in cockpit have been made sharper, lighting better, and the suspension animations more in line with reality. Now we come to what makes this 1.6 special. The physics. If you want the short version, Reiza have done everything in their power to simulate every part of a racing car and how those react to each other, the tracks and the environment. Not only have they revised everything having to do with thermodynamics, including tire behavior and brake torque, the aerodynamics, including dirty air, have been revised, and all the physics regarding moving the car forward, starting with the engine, the compression curves and the torque, got important improvements. LMDH cars as well as GTPs got extensive work done, updating the hybrid model, adjusting the ERS mapping, and even doing things like correcting the fuel volumetric density so that it's in line with how ethanol behaves. The FV10 Gen 2, F-Reiza, F-Ultimate, both generations, and the McLaren Senna got their differential revised, and tons of cars got their suspension revised and corrected. Looking at what they have done in the past 10 months or so, Reiza seem to have worked on simulating every part of a racing car that can be simulated on modern hardware and software, and keeping in mind there's behaviors and physics in real life not even engineers and scientists understand fully. Ask them about changing tire behavior during a race and swear them to be truthful, and you'll see what we mean. They have reached a level that we don't think any other consumer sim has reached until now. Reiza's future, by the way, is stable. They have gone on record saying they've made more money than they expected, this allowing them to get their foot in with IMSA, which again brought them in conversation with a lot of companies. There's license conversations going on, which they of course don't disclose yet. And there seems to be a lot of fuel in the Reiza tank. Now, may we ask for a series of Asia DLCs in the future as well as the Stadium Super Trucks? Pretty please?